This 1979 romance asks the question, what if a young man had special needs, but he was also really hot? And you're just a lonely, middle-aged woman. I mean, he's got special needs, but you've got needs too. What if someone with special needs was so hot, he looks like Mel Gibson? What is Mel short for?
What is Mel short for?
Melbourne? Is his name's Melbourne, Australia, Gibson? This takes place in Australia. And this is him as Forrest Gump, as a sweet man in little shorts. Can you imagine if Mel Gibson was Forrest Gump with his controversial opinions? My father always told me that life was like a box of chocolates. There's too many brown ones. Where's the white chocolates? He's 24. I think she's 47. So this is like The Graduate if he didn't graduate. Mrs. Robinson, are you trying to teach me to read? She teaches him to read. Piper Laurie, her name's Mary in this. Workmen are working on her neighbor's place. And she comes over and she's like, they're building something for me. Mary, she says, my gardener can't come this week. So the other guys, they're like, well, we're going to leave. You stay and clean up, Tim. And he's like, okay. Right away, the other woman's like, oh, that's Tim. He's slow, but he's good looking, isn't he? And then Tim's like, hey, I watered your bushes, Mrs. Horton. And she's like, okay, Tim, hey, say, you want to come back later and work for me? I need someone to tend to my garden. And he's like, okay, I can do that. Well, bye. Now he's doing lawn work in his little shorts. And then she's like, oh, Tim, would you like some tea? And he like skips over like a kid. He's like, ooh, tea, great. And he grabs a piece of cake. She's like, this dude looks just like Mel Gibson. I guess a woman would have a similar conundrum wanting to have sex with actual, just for different reasons. He looks at the book and he's like, I don't care for reading much. I can't read or write. And then he shoves the full piece of cake in his mouth and he says, well, I like you. He's like, I like you. And he's like, I was talking in a piece of cake. Well, if you like pieces of cake, you should try to fuck me. She only feeds him metaphors for how easy it's going to be to fuck her. And now here's a baby holding candy as a further example of how easy it will be to fuck. Because she's like, she has to spell it out. And she's like, I can't spell it out. This fucker's literally immune to things being spelled out. Because you know how a romantic comedy is always like they're in love, but this is they're in love, but his brains. Really, if you think about any poster for a romantic comedy, it could be Tom Hanks in, Meg Ryan in, You've Got Mail. Spoiler. He does a little hop, and he goes, I'm a kangaroo. That's my impression of a kangaroo. And then he keeps coming back every Saturday to garden, and every time he comes back in smaller shorts. These are Daisy Duds.
Daisy David Dukes.
Because he's a hateful man. But in this, he's a simple man. And then Mary calls his house with his old mom and dad and his sister. She asks if he can come to her beach house. So then they're like, yeah, sure. He's raking, she's sweeping. So then later she's dropping him off. His sister and her boyfriend are in the car behind him. And she's like, oh, that's the Mrs. Horton that Tim keeps talking about. The sister comes inside. And then she tells her parents she's getting married. And then he's like, oh, Tim loves his sister. So Tim's going to be sad that she's going to go away now. And then later that night, he's just sitting staring. And she's like, why are you so quiet, Tim? What's wrong? And he's like, she's going away. I don't want her to leave. He goes, you won't ever leave me, will you? And she's like, no, I'll never leave you, Tim. Unless I die.
Oh, okay.
He says, what's die, Mary? He's never been told the concept of death. She says, you know how you can feel your heart in your chest? Well, it's going to wear out. And you're dead. She didn't have to tell him he was going to die. She should have been like, people are going to leave you forever, but you'll be fine. All of his other deficiencies were just because he didn't know he was going to die. He was like, no, I just never learned to read because I thought I had plenty of time. He's like, no, I'm not even that unintelligent. I'm just a guy who didn't know about death. I'm smart. I had this one gap in my knowledge. He's like, I figured I'd be a guy who does an impression of a kangaroo for 100 years, and then until that got old. Think how slow you would go.
Oh my God.
You wouldn't be slow, you'd just be going slow. What if someone with special needs is just pacing themselves? What's the hurry, baby? So then he hugs her and smiles. And then he goes, I like you the same as mom and dad, but better than my sister. You're my third favorite.
Yeah.
He knows 4 people. This is why she's taking advantage of him so badly. Okay, so then his parents go to meet his sister's fiance's parents, and they're very rich. They're like, well, Tim's not going to come to the wedding. He kind of freaks out around crowds. Oh. So then they call Mary, and they're like, hey, would you do us a favor? He's going to go to the ceremony, but then after that, could you pick him up and take him for the night? She picks him up. He spends the night. He hangs out. They frolic on the beach. And then she sees on TV, there's this guy, he looks like Australian George Harrison, like after the Beatles. He's on TV, he's talking about how he has a special school for youngsters. And he goes...
Is this the X-Men?
Well, then they show him, and they're all dressed like wizards. She asks him for advice, and he's like, this is a school for wizards, lady. I don't know what to tell you. So wizard hats are pointy, and they have stars on them. You look like you're in a chapter of the clan that hates space. He's the one who tells her it's okay to go forward. Okay, so at this point, Tim's mother has a heart attack. And no one's home, and then they come home, and they find her just sort of in a chair, pale. And Mel Gibson's like, oh, fuck, I just learned about this. So then she's in the ambulance, and she says to the dad, take care of Tim. So then the mom dies. And then he says to the dad, he's like, don't worry, I know what dead is. And the dad's like, oh, yeah, we really should have taught you A, how to read.
Right.
These are horrible parents.
Yeah.
So I think what the mom meant is, let's start taking care of Tim. So again, they call Mary, and they're like, we don't want him at the funeral. He freaks out at funerals, too.
Oh, dude.
He's missing all of the life events.
Yeah.
Maybe he throws dirt at weddings, and he does the electric slide at funerals. He just gets mixed up. Okay, so then she comes to get him. So then he goes to her place. There's more crying and hugging. They walk on the beach. So then as a nice gesture, she lets the dad come stay at the beach house. Some time passes, and now the dad's saying, I'm dying. And then we cut back to her at the school. He's confused. I'm leading him on. I feel guilty. I don't know what to do. I know it's wrong. And then the guy goes, there's one other solution. Marry him. Everything she's doing is wrong if she's doing it just to sleep with him. But if you do something wildly inappropriate forever, you just got to commit to it forever. So he just says, go for it. So then there's a wedding. They do Song of Solomon. Like, love is kind and ever knowing. Love is never boastful. Love can't read. Love is never recording the racist rants of your husband. They pull up and they get out of the car and they walk in and it's all silent. And then they go in the bedroom and they're staring at each other. And then they're suddenly naked. Then they're laying in bed. When she wakes up the next morning, he's crying. Tears of happiness. And he's like, I just had no idea what any of those parts did. Wow. So then he has sex for the first time. Right afterwards, she gets a phone call. His dad's dead.
No. So
then basically they're at the funeral. And then they walk through the graveyard. Really, the whole movie has been about death. It's like, we're all going to die, pair off. So this is really a movie about a man who doesn't know he's going to die and then learns about what death is. And this is one of his first roles. And I think really it was a theme that continued throughout his work. I think a lot of Mel Gibson's movies make more sense if you realize that they're about that too. Mm-hmm. Like Lethal Weapon, that was about a cop who was a super cop because he didn't care if he lived or died. But what if he just didn't know he was going to die? Mm-hmm. It would have been the same movie. And then Braveheart makes a lot and sense because at the end of Braveheart, he makes that famous speech, they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom. And the guys in the crowd should have been like, wait, what the fuck is this guy? What the fuck is this guy? Does this guy not understand? If they take our lives, they've de facto also taken our freedom. Did we pick as our leader into war a guy who doesn't know what death is? I mean, we'll still do it because he's so cute, but holy shit, I think we picked a blue-faced simpleton. They may take our lives, but we'll still have cake with mommy. Who the fuck is this guy? The title of that movie sounds like they're trying to dance around how smart he is. They're like, I mean, he's got a brave heart. He means well. And you let this guy drive, he's a lethal weapon. The past was doing its best.
That's the theme song.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Leave them alone. They were doing their best.